Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies. Hello, Mariam.
Hi.
How are
Hi.
you doing
I'm
today?
Good. I'm a
What's
little. If I say I'm a little under the weather now, I'm sure everybody will be like, hey, what's happening? I'm tired and I'm hungry. I forgot to eat this morning. I was
So you usually
rushing
have
to
breakfast
work.
before coming to
Well,
the show?
so no, I don't. But then if I don't eat
The night
dinner,
before, yeah.
yes, or if maybe I ate really early the day before, I mean, it's just normal that you'd be hungrier earlier the next day. So I'm feeling quite hungry right now.
You can eat anything, right?
Right now.
Don't worry, the cafeteria is open. You can always do something. Anyways,
Yep.
so anything interesting happening to you that you want to tell us?
Nothing. We're just
same old,
living
same
the
old.
same old. We're not. I think I don't have that anxiety we had at the beginning of this lockdown.
Can you
So
imagine?
somehow you're
You've
just
gotten sort of used to it.
Yes, I'm beginning to understand. Okay, this is our new normal. In fact, I was thinking to myself the other day that, you know, maybe someone should just get this COVID and gain some antibodies and just move on, because here you are constantly trying to keep yourself clean. And just for me to find out, my gate man and another domestic staff I have, I got them face mask. I found out yesterday that they were sharing face mask. Do you know, I sit down with them and I talk to them, and you know how you are thinking you have made sure everything right under my nose was happening.
They
I was
sharing, they were passing it from one to the other.
So if this one needs to quickly go out, you'll be like, where are your face mask? I was so annoyed yesterday. So I had to ask her, I said, will you share your underwear with the other person? Like, I said, okay, it's the same thing.
Same thing, right. Anyways,
that's where we are today.
The numbers are increasing.
Yes.
So we need to be...
And they're still saying we haven't reached our peak. And that's scary. When the commissioner is saying
we are open.
He's saying that by July or something we should be 150,000. I mean, we're rejecting it, but I mean, these things are all scientific, so we never know. How are you doing, Tokbe?
I'm good. Yesterday I had a conversation with a man in his 60s, my husband's mentor, big brother-ish. So the man said that he's been worried that throughout this lockdown he needs to learn something new. And so my husband that helped him to, he now showed my husband what he wanted to achieve. It was like designs, quotes to be posting. So my husband showed him that, Canva would do it, and taught him a bit and said, let me bring the person that is the Canva person. And
the expert.
He listened to me for about 30 minutes and he kept nodding his head. This is a very, very successful old person, and he was desirous of learning. Like, I would not just sit down at home and I'll not do that. He's been reading a few books, but he just wants to do something that he hasn't done before, learn something. And I think that there's never a time limit to when you can start.
Once you decide.
Yes, just start. My mom is reading Joyce Meyer's book, and she's like, Joyce Meyer said she started exercising in her 50s, that she can just start now.
I had that conversation this morning. Yeah.
You can start now. And so she's thinking maybe she'll start taking a little walk. There's no age. You can, at 70, start. Just start.
It's all about the decision. Once you decide, your morning comes when you start. When you decide and decide. You know what? That's it. I'm excited about it. Even I'm in a zone right now. I'm trying to be very quiet, but honestly, I'm enjoying the learning. I'm happy that I'm learning new stuff. I'm excited that I'm opening up gradually. You know, and those of you that wanted me to mentor you, trust me, I'm coming. You will do mentor, and when I mentor, trust me, you would know you'll be mentored. But right now, just allow me. But so to talk about the stuff you did, I went through it yesterday on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting. She was really thorough. The training was extremely thorough, and I think it's something you're so good at teaching. Do you realize that? Yeah.
Why do you have that look?
I like teaching because that's why I'm not doing life coaching, because in life coaching you don't teach the person. You must listen and let the person find the solution. I don't have that patience. I'd rather just explain through the way. So I feel that over and over again.
I could see myself actually learning. So I mean, I think you really need to professionalize this thing to a point where you're getting revenue from it, because it's something you're really good at it.
I mean, I've been to an event you did. I mean, she spoke. It was really off the cuff, and I mean, you could see immediately there were young girls that were there. You could see immediately they were, you know, captivated by what she was saying. Just that you sort of understand the pulse of the situation, and you get it.
That's your zone, man.
That's it.
Do you? Okay, let's go on a break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, we're going to go with the papers. Somebody's birthday you wanted to say? Okay, let's move on to the nation. Let's start with the nation. Federal government frowns as states reopen mosques and churches. Picture here, educating Lagosians, a mobile advertising vehicle sensitizing residents of Lagos on the COVID-19. Returning Nigerians to pay for quarantine. Governors kick against infectious disease bill. Ondo uncovers 4.3 billion naira in secret accounts opened by Agagu government. Oyo commissioner dies of heart attack. Fashion Roti, an epitome of consistency, says Tinubu. Okay, which story? Let's take the major headline.
Yeah. So some states in the north have decided to ease their lockdown by allowing people to go to churches and mosques, and in some places, some markets. Borno State, Gombe, Adamawa, and Zamfara State. And of course, this is against what the federal government directive is. The Minister for Information is saying that he understands that governors will do the best for their people, but at the same time, they should be careful not to overturn all the hard work, that the Ministry of Health, NCDC, has done concerning easing this right now. And, well, really, I just don't get... So some of the governors are saying that when they go to the churches, the boys' brigade will ensure that everyone has their masks on.
And usually in the mosque, you wash your hands over and over again. And I think that maybe because it's about to be, what's the end of the fast? What do they call that?
Ramadan.
It's Ramadan, end of Ramadan. So maybe the religious sentiment. But my worry is if any state can't fund their COVID cases, which is the fact right now, every state that has COVID cases get funding from private sector and the government, federal government, then you must conform with the rules from the federal government, that they want funding, that they want carrying out the tests.
Let me just add this information. The Minister for Information says right now we have passed the 5,000 mark and over 200 deaths from COVID. So when the governors are making these decisions, they should consider these numbers as well.
I want to take the story of the Foreign Affairs Minister. There's a change in the policy that has been signed on the 14th of May. Saying that returnees will now pay for their quarantine. I remember the Abikadabiri mentioned it a few weeks back, but it hadn't taken place. The few people that came back from UAE and UK, their quarantine for 2 weeks was paid by the federal government for that 2 weeks. But the federal government said that there are about 4,000 people going to come into this country now. They can't afford to pay for the hotel bills during the quarantine, and that they should prepare the funds by themselves. They sent it to all the high commissions and the embassies so that they will inform citizens that want to come in, have your money to pay for your quarantine.
Okay, let's go to Vanguard. COVID-19, governors ask National Assembly to drop infectious disease bill. Ohaneze, Southeast monarchs raise alarm over Almajiri influx. We didn't ask Madagascar for cure. They gave us, says federal government. Why Canada denied air peace landing rights on Yema. Monarch Prince, one other remanded for defiling 14-year-old girl. Ohaneze, Southeast monarchs raise alarm over the Almajiri influx, and Atiku blasts federal government over financial recklessness. Okay, which story? Let's start with the Ohaneze, Southeast monarchs.
So Indigo are saying that there's a large number of Almajiri coming in from the north, and is worrying and quite concerning, really, that even though there's supposed to be an interstate travel ban, they are mysteriously finding their way all the way to the east. And of course, they are uncomfortable about it. Why are they coming? It cannot be for good reasons. And another thing is that when they get to the east, at this period where most everything is on lockdown, there's nothing that they are doing. So there's no work. So they're just going to be loitering around. And so for me, this means that the Governors Forum, when they sit down, I know that they're having conversations over and over several things. Why are we having some states able to just move people, to places?
It's not official, but Abuja found like 68, Ogbomoso found 68, Abuja found like 90-something. People are actually moving because there's no job there, there's lockdown. So they are thinking that things will be better off in the south.
How are they able to move? These governors have to be able to tell us why people are able to move from all the way from the north.
I think it's a topic we need to focus on because, first of all, moving Almajiris out of your state in itself is supposed, you're not supposed, I mean, they're Nigerians, they can actually live wherever they choose to live.
Yeah, but
now the Kano governor was saying that they need to go, but they're trying to help those that are living within their own states, and they had to move people out of the states. And I'm not sure it's right for them to do that. But hey, I was going to take another story. we didn't ask Madagascar for cure. The federal government is saying, because people are making it look as though we don't want to look within, we don't want to look for local remedies for this COVID-19. So the government is saying that they didn't ask Madagascar to send in the drink, the COVID organic. What happened was that they have sent out to various African countries to see how they can help. And so the ones to West Africa have been taken to Guinea-Bissau, and they're going to take their own portion from Guinea-Bissau just to even test it out and see. So it's not like we asked for it, they offered, and we're accepting. Moving on now to Daily Sun. COVID-19, governors reject infectious disease bill. Homemade cure for COVID-19 out soon, says ONU. NAFDAC warns against use of chloroquine. Buhari vows to stem insecurity. IPOB monarchs warn on Almajiri influx in Southeast. Okay, let's talk about the infectious disease bill.
Okay, so the NGF chairman, of course, governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, is saying that so far, given what they have, what they've learned from the bill and the process, it seems as if it's quickly being trying to be passed, but that is asking that for it to be stepped down so that all the stakeholders that need to be part of this passing of the bill will all, there has to be a consultative forum for that. So they should hold off on that. And also he's talking about, I think that right now the governors are concerned about the rising numbers of COVID patients in their states and building isolation centers, to a 300-bed capacity for each state.
In addition to that, he was saying that the money that we receive from looters, the funds that we're getting from other countries, should actually be shared equitably across the countries, across the states, because they are the ones on the front lines. The states need this money as much as they can, and the fact that
the money refunded that is being refunded from previous looters was meant to do specific projects.
Yes.
Even before the money was gotten, the government emphasized to those bringing the money that we will use it for this. Now we want to use the guise of COVID to collect every money and spend. I know that we have a major issue with the COVID-19 and the state governors need money, but then we have support from donors that are specifically meant for COVID-related issues, and we've gotten loans from countless countries that are willing to and grants to help us with it. So let's use the money for what we meant to use the money for.
Moving on to the Nigerian Tribune. Governors kick over dominance of recovered loot by federal government. We talked about that. COVID-19, Nigeria didn't request for Madagascar solution. We mentioned that. School feeding program CCB to expose fraudulent public officers. 7-year-old girl found dead in vehicle in Ekiti. At National Security Council meeting, Buhari says expenses won't be spared in war against insecurity. Right. Let's talk about the 7-year-old girl that died.
Yes, this is a sad story. A girl called, identified as Taiwo Olagoke. She's a twin. So on this particular day, she and her twin sister were going out to get something. And her other twin, Kenny, ran back because she had forgotten something. By the time she came downstairs, she was looking for her. So she left her in the compound and started looking for her sister. Got everyone in the compound, involved. Everybody was looking for her. Then about 5:30 p.m., they found her in a car in the compound. And funny enough, there was a mechanic that was working on that car throughout the time that they were looking for this girl, and he left at 5 p.m. So at 5:30, her body was found in that vehicle. So of course, the police were called into this, and they are going to investigate to see what has happened. Really sad story.
Right, really sad indeed. Let's move on to Daily Trust. Okay, I was going to take the Ondo recovers 4.3 billion in secret accounts over 10 years.
Yeah.
Doing like a ghost time.
Yeah, so apparently they found it in one of the third-generation banks. They didn't mention the name, but what they're saying is that he unduly transferred this amount into that account. It's been there for the past 10 years, and now they are working with a consultancy firm to retrieve the money. They said that this exercise modestly conducted without usual noise is aimed at avoiding sensationalizing, but we're hearing about it. Now, this is we must note that this governor, Olusegun Agagu, is dead. And somehow, it seems that people that is late, and those that are...
If you're not alive,
you cannot protect your money. And so we're getting, when people were saying Abacha's money too, that we're recovering, I'm like, most of our leaders took money, but if you're not alive to consume the money, then it comes back. So I'm happy for the citizens of Ondo State who are about to get this large chunk of money. May we put the money to good use.
Final paper, Daily Trust, very quickly. Use of face masks now mandatory, says federal government. We don't know the whereabouts of the Chinese, says federal government. That's those guys that came, the Chinese medics. and Naira to depreciate further, says analysts. Okay.
I took that story. The Minister for Health during a press briefing was like, I beg people stop asking me this question. Every time, why are these Chinese people? I don't know.
Okay,
they are not my guests. They came, no, he was answering, he was not being sarcastic. They are not my guests. They are not the guests of the federal government. They are staff of CCEC, that's the Chinese constructing company.
Yes.
Yes, so we're able to, because of their experience on how, they fought COVID in their own country, we're able to learn from some of their experience. But please, I beg, stop asking me about Chinese people.
I thought they were coming to help us. That
No,
was how CCEC was going to support Nigeria.
They are not their guests. They are not our guests. Please,
so
stop
this
asking.
is the new information.
Yes,
No, it's not new information. They've said it from day one. Please stop being all funny. They told you that they are bringing.
I know they said CCEC was bringing guys.
But we like that sensationalism because when it happened, they're bringing these doctors from China to come and take over.
Us.
No,
but you cannot say you don't know where they are. You cannot say we cannot ask you those questions. We will ask you and you should know where they are.
Why would you know where they are?
They are foreigners in your country and you cannot trace where they are.
You should know where they are, what they are up
to. You know foreigners in your country.
That came during COVID to help us fight COVID with their intelligence.
They were brought in by the private company to support.
Yes.
So now, just in case, what if they said they don't want their support?
What if they are going to be committing crime in the country? What if they are
they
spreading
say
something?
they are working with them to learn
Federal
something.
government says they are not the host. Please, can we move on? Let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
No problem.
Please, mind your business.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, we stumbled on one gist like that online. Where a man cried out that he found out after years of marriage that his wife has been collecting money constantly from her ex for the upkeep of the house and family, especially when he was out of job. He felt really hurt and had to involve both family, accusing the wife of infidelity. Now the question is, was it right for the wife to ask for help? We'd like to hear your thoughts on this. You can call us on 070-8066-8014. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourVTVC so we can read your tweets. And a bit later, we're going to bring in our special guest to join the conversation. But first, so the story I read is that things were down. I mean, families go through ups and downs. Yeah. So when things were really down, your husband is out of job, you guys are going through a whole lot of issues, and you know your ex has it covered. You know he has money, and you have that, you know, that platonic relationship with him, nothing sexual, just the fact that, hey, please, I need your help, give me something. We could have started with, okay, let me just give you something, 30K or 20K for the week or for the weekend. Now, obviously, your husband's job is not coming back anytime soon, and you need that help. So he helped out for quite a bit. And then after a long time, your husband got his job back, and now he's finding out that during that downtime,
this was
it was
how you
the
sorted
ex
things.
that supported us, not you supporting. Now, what are your thoughts on this? Should number one, should the woman have told the ex? 2, should the woman have actually opened up eventually? And 3, should she have just managed with the downtime at that period? What are your thoughts?
Those are solid, big questions you just asked. So one for me is, I'm personally a believer of full disclosure, but I have, based on experience, realized that men cannot actually handle the full information. So in my house, I will not tell you I do full disclosure in my house. We still quarrel on it though, because you will come back and refer to it. But I want that peace of mind, so I'll continue to do full disclosure. But if you can't, some people that can hold things, then they shouldn't do, because at the end of the day, many men can't handle it. That's on the side of full disclosure, my opinion. Now let's move on to the case of, should you collect help from your ex? I would totally collect help from my ex. There is no ex I had that did not chop my money. None of them.
Okay, so
when I was dating, I've always been a working person, and I did not go for, even when I dated someone that was financially comfortable, I always feel like I must do something for you too, so that it was, so I've added value to the lives of everybody that had come in contact with me. And if they feel in the long term, when I need help, they want to support me, I don't see anything wrong. As long as they are not compelling me to reward them immediately, like have sex with them for that financial help. I don't see anything wrong in asking for financial help from someone I had a relationship before, as long as there's nothing attached to it. Yes, who is in a good place comfortably, because I know that every relationship because it is based on the kind of relationship I had with them. So if your relationship with them did not end well, or you go back to meet them, they would mock you before giving it to you, or talk bad about you about it, or they can even disrespect your husband based on that help. Right. And those are things you don't want to happen in your life. But if you had a good relationship with the ex, you guys migrated away and you grew apart, we're not doing it again, I found someone I want to marry, you can. But if you have any of all those issues, then you don't do it. So that's
interesting.
Yeah, for me too. Usually I would say anything that has to do with ex, I say it all the time because I find women especially are involved so much with an ex, to the point that it affects their current relationship. So anything that affects your current relationship to a degree, I frown on it. I'm like, an ex is an ex, should stay an ex. But I also understand that life is not that simplistic. people form relationships. Some exes have become closer than family. That's life. Some exes have become even, just, you know how it is, they are best friends. They're even there, maybe godparents to your own children. So there are things, yes, it has happened. That's life, yes. And then some people even have exes like family friends. Oh, the ex-family and his wife, family friends. So you see, there are different scenarios. But the part of where your husband is going through a financial problem and a friend offers, because for me now, I will not put that ex on the person. The person is a friend. And as you said, it's not a sexual relationship, it's not a... So I know the question you are saying that, is it disrespectful to your marriage to receive that? No, I do not think so. If it's a friendship, it's a friendship we're talking about. I don't know, because... So it's not that, let me just finish, it's not that you're picking up your phone and going through the list of exes. Who can I call? Which of my exes has money that can pay? No, but I already have a friendship with this person. And we already maybe talk about things like that.
Bruise your husband's ego
now,
because no matter how you guys are friends, there's nothing between you guys anymore, but there's something that makes your husband feel like, oh, I am not enough. So for you to actually go and ask your ex or something, you are telling me indirectly that I am not enough.
But you are not enough in the moment.
So I watched this movie. Let me just use this movie as an
example. Not enough in the moment.
Let me use this movie I watched as an example. I think it's a Spanish movie, right? The man and his wife have a son who had some trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder, and they needed like a lot of money to take him to specialists, but they couldn't. His boss, who had shown some sort of attraction for his wife, has the money and is willing to pay. The wife did not see that part of the boss, like he liked her, but she just thought, this is your boss, and this is the person who can help, and my child is important to me, and this person has to help us. Eventually, of course, the father refused for a long time, and that boy kept suffering. After a while, when he saw how much the boy was suffering, he himself went to the boss and asked him. But when he did that, he left the wife. He said because he felt small. So maybe now the conversations will be to the man. How important is your ego in a situation like this?
Thank you for taking us back there, because I'll bring in our guest at this point. Okey Bakassi, are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah, so you've been...
I'm standing by.
I know you've been listening to our conversation, because Mariam asked a very pertinent question. So, the man's ego in this situation, the fact that your wife, things are down for you, you lost your job, you can't pay your rent, you can't pay your children's school fees, your wife has a job that she's earning very little, that's to support the family, but yet she's bringing in some money that she's telling you, oh, somebody gave me, somebody helped me, not knowing that it was her ex that's been helping you, let's just say, for the past 2 years. Now things are better, and then you have a conversation with your wife and then find out, oops, it's been your ex that's been helping us for the past 2 years. How would that make you feel?
Okay, first of all, the scenario that you just painted, as we speak, is happening in so many families around Nigeria,
right?
Especially during this COVID-19 era. Okay, for me as an individual, I like full disclosure. I like for us as a family to know what we are getting into. First of all, you know what they say, exes and current don't mix. All right? We are talking about a woman now who is getting support from the ex and helping the family. If you flip the script the other way, I'm sure most women won't also be able to handle it.
Oh, no.
Now, speaking for myself, if we have full disclosure from beginning, one, that I know this ex before now, to have been in a position where I have made my assessment of what the relationship currently between that ex and my wife is as at the time of all these things playing out. Now, if I've been in the know prior to this time and I've been able to make that assessment and is acceptable by me, why not? I mean, people can get help from anywhere. Beyond even an ex giving your wife financial support, an ex can give your wife job, you know, and it won't be a problem. So the thing is, have I been carried along from the onset? Because mind you, sometimes when you have the full story, you will even know how did they become ex, okay? Is it your wife that walked away? Is it the guy that walked away?
Matter?
How did they become exes? Is it by mutual consent? Because sometimes some of those foundation stories help prepare everybody.
Okay, I'll pause you. Okay, let me pause you for a second.
Yeah.
Because there are some men that cannot handle full disclosure. But we'll come to that.
But they want
let me take Let me take a quick phone call. He's been holding for a while before I come back to you. Good morning. Are you there?
Hello.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Hello.
Good morning, Ladipo. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Oh yes, yes. I want to talk on the paper review this morning.
Oh.
Yes, and I want to mention about the Minister of Health.
Yes. Oh,
We lost that
I'm
call.
so sorry, Mr. Ladipo. Try to call back later on. So, going back to Okey Bakassi, he was talking about full disclosure. But there are some men, we know our people now, men. How many men in this Nigeria can handle full disclosure?
The thing is that a man who will not accept full disclosure would also not accept help from an ex.
Yes. So in that case, Okey Bakassi, when you have, why do men put ego before the interest of the family? Because you see, the woman trying to support this man, she's supporting the family. Maybe it's a school fees, maybe it is house rent, maybe it is food, feeding in the house that the man can't step in. Why don't we look at the motive behind the situation? Why do we bring our ego into the conversation? Because obviously that's what is at play here.
Sorry, let me come in. You call it ego now because it's a man that is involved. If it's a woman that is involved, will it be ego? Because the truth of the matter is that a lot of women cannot handle your ex being in your life for whatever reason.
I agree.
For whatever reason, they cannot handle it. All right? So when it's a man that we are talking about now, it's easy to say, oh, it's his ego that is in the way. Let me tell you something. The reason that most women cannot stand their husband's ex being around their husband is because they understand women and how they can be very manipulative, especially when it comes to men. And the reason that men can't stand their wives being around their ex is because we know men, we know how we are. You don't want a guy who still has feelings for your wife being around your wife. It has nothing to do with your ego. It has nothing to do with the support that he wants to give. It's just that if this guy still has feelings for the woman, you don't want the woman around the guy.
The place of trust?
Because you don't know what demands he will be coming up with.
What is the place of trust?
Okay, for me, I feel that what causes distrust...
Can I pause you for a second? I have another caller who's been holding for a while. Good morning, are you there?
Good morning.
Thanks, Ibukun. Go ahead, please.
Yes, you were talking on a topic that is it right to collect or ask for help from ex?
Yes, yes.
From my own point of view, first of all, I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
I really appreciate you, lady.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really.
Thank you.
My husband knows that I'm one of your greatest fans.
Thank you so much.
It's really nice watching. For me, I would say receiving money from one ex, I think it's not a good decision because it's like you are putting down your husband. No matter the situation, no matter what you are going through, you should find a means of sorting things out and not decide to ask for help from one's ex. And I'm not sure there is any man that will be happy when they find out that their wife is asking for help from their head. You know, man, with their ego and their pride, or even, let's put that aside.
Pride and ego. Thank you for bringing those words up. Yes.
Yeah. So
Mariam.
for me, I feel that what causes the problem is really about opening up about what is happening or what you're doing. See, most people, jealousy, envy, distrust, most of the time I feel is festered by secrecy. So you're on the phone and making and whispering, you know, those are the things that, so you are now left with your thoughts and your imaginations. What could they be talking about that is so secret that I don't have to, that they don't want me to be a part of? But if I'm part of the conversation from the get-go, see, madam, we have serious issue. The ex has said she can help us, blah, blah. What do you think? Should we go for it? If it's agreed, yes, and then we go together. Thank you, ex, for helping us in this way. There's no distrust, there's no ego. Do you understand? But when it's done in such a way that you now find out, that is the problem. So for me, if you say no, then that's no. Then we face our problems. But the thing is, if you're going to, the problem of ego or distrust, because Okey Bakassi was saying women will not take it because they feel, they know how other women are. It's not every woman that really wants your husband. Do you understand? I'm just trying to say that there are many reasons why women don't want it. It's just the secrecy. Right. And I think for the men too, it's not the ego, but really about full disclosure.
But there's a lot of ego.
If you flip it,
I have like major ego. Like there was what that played out in my house that I was so surprised. I was supposed to go to Ibadan, and I'm like, oh, I want to. My friend was like, you can drive to Ibadan. It's not far. And I say, my car cannot get to Ibadan. And my phone was on speaker. It wasn't hidden conversation. My husband's face just turned to me, like, why would you say that? So for him, it's like it was an ego thing. Why would you be sharing that information? But our car can go to Ibadan. I said, but our car cannot go to Ibadan. Why are we? So I should not tell her. So he would have preferred that it make it look like I don't just want to drive to Ibadan, when the actual fact is I'm communicating our weakness.
Yes.
And he doesn't want that to be out there. So it makes him feel like, what do you mean by that? There's a lot of ego, because the pride of a man is in that I can take care of my family.
Yeah. Let me take this from Isaac before I come to Okey. Isaac, are you there? From the UK. Good morning. Thanks for calling.
Thank you. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Lots of first-time callers today.
Thank you.
They love this.
Yes, can I talk?
You are live. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Now, I want to say there is nothing wrong with, for example, a girl asking for an ex-boyfriend or sister. I want to put my own in context.
Okay. Myself
and my wife's ex-boyfriend are still good friends up to now.
Oh.
We discussed, mutually. I never knew him when he was dating my wife. Even I even told my wife that I thank God that he did not marry you because God is served you for me.
Wait, okay, pause for a second. Was he intimate with your wife?
Doesn't matter. Jeez.
Very, very. Why not? Very, very intimate.
Very intimate. Just checking.
Very
oh my God.
Yes. Very intimate.
It makes a difference.
Sometimes if there's any offer, if there's any offer from him, I know my wife is not asking for any offer. But if there's any offer from him, my wife will concur with me before she asks for that kind of offer. So I don't think it depends on the motive.
I just wanted to add quickly before you go to Okey Bakassi that we need to be careful that the situation we're talking about here is
Thank you very much, sir.
A serious, so not just any flimsy excuse you call up an ex. It has to be a serious. If you have a person, you're talking of flimsy excuse.
No, I'm not talking about one ex that looks like one guy that some clown.
It's not.
I'm talking about an ex that is correct, GQ kind of guy that owns a company, a blue chip company.
It doesn't matter.
A guy that has listen. I'm telling you that the ego of the man cannot handle that you're collecting money from somebody like, let's find a guy that is the MD of
let's say Tony Elumelu.
Tony Elumelu is your ex.
Some people have found themselves in a situation where you need a kidney. We need to travel to India for this thing, and they have both gone to an ex for help. No matter how.
Let me bring you in this time. Okay, you've heard us. You've heard all our callers. What are you?
Yes,
What would you like to say?
Now, you see this thing. Let me tell you. As much as we have lots of men with ego issue, because I mean, ego is the fuel that runs men. All right. What is a man without his ego? If you damage his ego, you have damaged him.
Really?
But despite that, men are also very practical. Men are also very practical.
Yeah.
Which is why, things that can get to women don't easily get to us. Because we like to look at things from a very, very practical point of view. Which is why I said, if you have carried us along from the beginning, we are likely to sleep over it, look at the implications and say, okay, fine, it's our last choice. What do we do? Okay, is this thing help or assistance? Is it coming with conditions attached? We want to, look at things because no man wants to see his family.
You're talking from a perfect relationship, okay? There are some men that have that overpowering influence over their wives. They are I wouldn't say they are violent, but they're very dominating in the home. They're very boisterous. You can see how they have this huge negative influence in their family, and the wife is scared. She's one of those women that just doesn't speak.
A man is mean, he's this, he's that, is when he can still provide. Now, if you're talking about a man who is down and out, you understand? Who is down, out, and on his back. Okay? In fact, the ego at that point is nonsense. Survival instincts kick in.
Right?
So look
that's when they are more aggressive. That's when they are more aggressive, okay? That's when the anger reaches a different level.
So for me, I think there are multiple for every scenario.
Let me pause you. I'm so sorry. I have to go on a break. Okay. I'll take your point right after the break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. To Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have Okey Bakassi with us, but talk about you had a point you wanted to make.
Yes, I wanted to say that different relationships, based on the way the relationship had been upfront, will determine how the woman will play along. Because the woman in this case knows that her husband can handle anything. She probably would have made it clear to the husband that I'm going to get help from a man or from my ex, and she knows that if I explain it, she would understand. But if you already know that the kind of man you are dealing with is the kind of man that has really huge ego, and you want to solve the problem, then she'll be circumventing giving that person information. I know that my husband can't handle the entire truth, but for my own peace of mind, I'll tell him. So knowing your spouse is vital in a relationship. And some cases, you realize that maybe the woman should have suffered along without getting help outside. Knowing the kind of man it is, because this kind of thing can break a relationship. Because you did something, some people say, you could have killed me. And you'd have killed me clearly because of your interest. So maybe the advice would have been, a woman in this situation, don't get the help, manage the situation.
Depends on what the help is for.
Let me ask, because, are you still there?
Would you want his wife not to get the help?
Go on, ask her.
So would you, if you're in a situation, very dire situation, and your wife is asking you to get help and you said no, would you appreciate if she goes behind, gets the help, and saves the family without telling you up front and then you find out later? Or would you say she should let the entire family suffer the process together?
So my preference would be her telling me about this source of help. That would be my preference. And depending on how I process the situation, I may opt to go with her. Okay? Because, for example, let us take example. Let's say it's a medical condition. A member of the family is in dire need and needs surgery or needs medical help. Okay? Maybe I would prefer a situation where if she says, look, this my ex is in a position to help. Okay? Why don't we go see him, and I've discussed with him and he's willing to help. Okay? So, yeah, I may be open to that.
And if you say
let me ask you this question, because I got a message from a man. Yeah. This man is saying that the reason why he would object to collecting money from his wife's ex is because it's like an opening for other things. She's likely to go back to him. So yes, he helps out at this time, but what's the guarantee? What's the guarantee that she won't keep going back?
Yeah, the point is that whether it's an opening or it's not an opening, if a woman is going to go back to her ex, she will go back to her ex, and there's nothing you can do about it.
I don't know if you
understand. You understand? So it's better to be reasonable. It's better to be reasonable. For me, what I want is to be carried along. You see, the fact that something is ongoing and you're not aware, for me, is more dangerous than you being in the know. Okay? Because, I mean, we are all busy talking about this man trying to help. What of the man's wife? Will she be comfortable hearing that the husband wants to help an ex? Okay? Because if his own wife is not going to be in the know of this, his philanthropy, you understand?
Okay.
Don't you see somehow?
Okay, let me put you on a hold for a second. I have a calls in waiting. Good morning, are you there?
Good morning, please.
Thanks for calling, Boniface. Go ahead, please.
Oh, good morning, madam. Thank you very much. You guys are very nice ladies.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, I want to say I'm a first-time caller, right?
Welcome to the show.
Wow.
All right. I want to let you know what you have on your table. The topic you have is very, very delicate, very important. So we should understand that the younger ones who are not yet into the institution of marriage, they are listening to us. So when you talk of ex this or ex that, please let me be mindful that ex sometimes being ex may at the end of the day being the current wife or the husband. So it is important that it is not a matter of the man's ego that it matters, but it's man's protective of his own family. When an ex-man or ex-husband or ex-man or woman continue to make influx in their family, competing with the person in charge, then don't believe that he's still contributing in monetary, but he can still contribute in other areas that
yes,
will not be
Boniface,
so,
you're right.
Be careful. I understand what you talk of. Nobody can eat his cake and have it. You can't tell me you'll be contributing a lot in that way, and at the same time, you will ignore the other way around.
Thank you very much, Boniface. Thank you very much.
Saying that if you contribute financially, you will contribute in other things too. And it reminds me of a story. Let me just take this story. So I know of a couple that the woman had been married before. The woman dated this man while single. They were dating. The man is married, like those Aristo-ish relationship. She now got married. This Aristo was at her wedding, and was, supportive financially towards the wedding. The man knows that this man was an Aristo in that relationship, but felt like he has given my wife freedom to go. Unknowing, when they had issues in that marriage, the man came to help, and now the woman is the second wife to the other Aristo.
Imagine
that.
The
whole
officially.
Marriage was based on disrespect as far as I'm concerned.
When you already have issues, what that Boniface was saying that if an ex can become second husband, that was what he was saying, that the ex right now that is helping financially can come back and say, okay, this man cannot handle you. Let me take you as second wife and I will take care of you totally.
This your story, that Aristo was not an ex. They were just co-husbands. Simple and short. He was at the wedding, gave money for wedding. That's a co-husband. Not an ex.
A shareholder in the marriage.
It was a shareholder.
All right, let me take a few tweets and I'll come to you, okay?
Yeah. So Ogumola Emmanuel says, let's be practical and say it like it is. There's danger looming around every relationship with exes. Collection of assistance from them isn't wrong if you conferred with your current partner before doing it. More importantly, do it with caution. This sounds like a law script. Mom Beauty says, an ex is different from an ex. If you have an ex that can change your story in seconds without asking for anything, please go for it.
Like the governor of your state is your ex.
Yeah. So she says, Ogago, calm down. Last, may we not die in poverty.
So someone was saying us here that, what if your ex was the governor of your state? Somebody else was saying that.
Saying, Governor said, we can go after 4 years. What if he was Aliko Dangote?
Aliko Dangote was
yes, like a billionaire or like a Bill Gates.
I mean, someone that
he can change your whole village if you wanted to.
So would you not ask for help?
I think that ego blinds, and there's a tweet that was saying that what ego has cost in marriages is huge, because ego sometimes make people irrational in their thinking. I want us
to address what Okay said concerning. Let's flip it. You want to say something, Okay? Before you go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead. I like that angle.
I was going to say that. Let's flip it. So the woman is the one who is influential. She's your ex. She's now the deputy governor or the governor of a state, and she's very powerful. She's the CEO of this big company, and she's somebody that used to have something to do with back in the day. And now you're married, things are down for you. You are the wife. You know your husband used to date this big time lady. Now, would you allow him go and ask her for help?
I'm likely to say, please, can she help me get a job? I'm likely.
So she helps you get a job, no doubt. And then she now becomes your friend, a family friend. Because she's helping you guys. And she's assisting you, she's giving you a job. She's helping husband with a contract. And then he's having to go and see her at the office to discuss contracts consistently. Think about it, Mariam. Let me take Mariam on
that. Let me come back in here.
Yes.
Okay. There's another factor that we are leaving out, okay, which is very, very key in this conversation. The character of your partner.
Simple.
It has a major role to play, okay, because everybody knows their partner. No matter how much ego you have, no matter how much suspicion you have, deep down inside of you, there's this confidence you have in your partner if you trust that partner. Okay? So let's say you're a man, you're married to a woman, you know your wife's character. If she's somebody that will go out of that relationship, you know. And you're constantly afraid of her going out of the relationship, which is why you see a lot of men will use resources to beef up their marriage, beef up their wife, because they know that this person is very weak. If you leave this person in the company of somebody, something will go down. But there are people who know that their partner, to get their partner in bed will be a very difficult task for any man to do, because you also know what you went through before you got her. So those concerns becomes even lessened by the character of your partner. Those are some of the factors that will make you decide, you know what, if your ex wants to help us, I'm open. Because you know the woman you married. You know when she has moved away from a relationship. It's done.
Okay, Mariam wants to come in here.
You know, as much as I agree with you about the partner, I think it's too much of a burden on yourself to be thinking based on the character of a human being. You know, there's something they say about social sciences. With human beings, things change depending on circumstances and where they find themselves. So you cannot make that a constant. The constant has to be you. And the constant has to be a principle that you have agreed on in your marriage. If we're doing things like that, it needs to be full and open disclosure. If it's not full and open disclosure, I'm going to take it that there's something...
This will call marriage runs on trust. This thing will call marriage runs on trust. No matter what social science says about anything, the absence of trust means the marriage is over. It has to run, marriage has to run on some level of trust.
Okay.
So you can't totally eliminate that.
I have to go on a break. When we come back, I know Okey has a book. We're going to talk about the book, but we'll wrap up on this, then we'll go into the book. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
So we're going to wrap up on this conversation before we introduce Okey properly. Your final thoughts on this issue, on this part. Let me come to you.
I'm just saying, if it's not a flimsy excuse and you're both in agreement, it's something that you can ask for.
I would say that don't do something behind your partner that if your partner finds out can threaten your marriage. Always have that full disclosure conversation, because you don't want stories of you did something that can now cause a problem. And flip the script. If you were the one in the situation, do unto others what you want others to do unto you.
Okay, final thought on this before I introduce you properly.
Yeah, communication is always very, very important. Carry each other along. Let the decision be jointly taken in marriage.
Yeah.
Great. So one can count on your fingers the number of comedians who can take on an audience without any pre-planned material or jokes. This man, as you know, is one of them. He's famous for his stand-up comedy, television personality, Nollywood actor, producer, director, entrepreneur, master of ceremony, and a television host. Welcome with us again, Mr. Okechukwu Anthony Onyegbole, popularly known as Okey Bakassi.
I did not know his full name before. I'm like, who is this?
How was my
I'm like, who is this?
How was my introduction?
It's always a pleasure being with you guys on Your View.
Yes,
you guys are
we love having you. Okay, you just wrote a book, The Memoirs of an African Comedian.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I read the review, and it was quite interesting to see that you shared your life, how you grew up in a house of clowns or comedy. A lot of you were, and I mean, the writer was saying that he was surprised that you didn't have that many people in your house anyway that you're talking about. But tell us about this book. What inspired your writing of this book?
Okay, why did I put together this book? Reason. Now, one of the things that our ancestors got wrong is not documenting stories for us. So a lot of African culture, history, and tradition were lost as a result of oral tradition. Because once you pass your story from generation to generation, if somebody in that chain dies without passing that story to the next generation, the story is gone. Okay? And when you don't document your story, it's open for interpretation or misinterpretation.
Yeah.
All right. So what I decided to do when I said to myself, okay, by the time you turn 50, at least you should be able to tell the stories that, I mean, your recollection of your life event from 0 to 50. Okay, so I decided to put it together for my generation after me, so that they won't be told what their father was like or what their father did and what they don't do. Then another thing again is, I'm hoping that young people who want to embrace show business will look at my story and glean some, nuggets, some, experiences that will help them, one, to determine, am I on course? Okay, have I deviated? Can I do it? How did other people do it? So there are things you can learn from this book about where you want to be and about where you have been and how it helps you get to where you're going to.
Right.
So it's and once you pick it up, the way I've written it, it's like me, when you read it, it's like me narrating the story.
Right.
You won't be, most
drop
people who
it.
have read the book say they couldn't drop it until they were finished.
I'm excited about the new wave of Nigerian authors sharing their story, because one of the gaps that I felt concerning growing up in Nigeria and looking for mentors and people who've run the path was there was no documentation that I could follow, no blueprint, nobody's story that I can say, if you follow what Okey Bakassi has done, you'll be able to achieve what Okey Bakassi achieved. And I'm happy that we're having people coming up with those stories. But some people don't say the details. And I would like to ask you that, was there any heavy part in your life's journey that you couldn't share? Or did you share everything about your life's journey? What are the big challenges that you put in the story, or which one did you not put in the story?
Okay, fine. What I did when I wanted to tell everything, but you need to understand that this book cannot take 50 years of my life. This book cannot take it. You understand? So you have to distill and check the things that need to go and the things that will make the cut. So what I decided to do is to take bits and pieces, okay? Now, I took high points of my life, the ones that I feel, people can benefit from. So I did a balance, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. Because I didn't want to just look at all the good, because no human being is all good. No.
Yeah.
There are areas you would have made some mistakes, poor choices, bad decision, the things that make you human. So I decided to make sure that I had a book that had a balance of everything. In fact, when my wife read the book, in her own words, she said, you revealed too much. I know. Is everything that you have to put out there? I said, but people need to know. There were also things that I left out because of the people who were involved in some of those stories. Okay? If I didn't have your consent to go ahead and tell it, then I need to respect how you feel about the story and not talk about it.
Right.
Yeah, so Okey Bakassi, you're looking really good, and you're 50. I mean, you don't look 50. But, reading your book, parts of your book, I was able to read.
This year, he has added, though.
Okay, you'll be 50. 50 last year, 51. Can you imagine? You look really good for 51.
51.
Good. Okay, so I was going to say that when some of the pages I was able to read before this interview, you talked about your struggles, like moving into your first apartment, even though it was like a shared, compound. Most people, I find, when they have achieved some success, they are quick to forget that or not share that part of them, because it sort of taints this glamorous person that you have become. Why is it important to tell that part of the story, that the struggles you went through financially and otherwise?
Yeah, in fact, for me, why it's important that I tell, even those ones that people normally would like to leave out, is that if there's any part of your story that you're not proud of and you're too ashamed to tell, that means if you check your present, there's also part of your present that you're still ashamed of. Okay? Because I think growth is your ability to overcome some of those things that try to hold you down. So if you can't really talk about them, even now that you have been able to overcome them, that means those things are still holding you down. All right? So I looked at it, and for a young person who I want to also look at this book, I don't want them to see the journey of life as an express route. No, it's full of bumps, full of potholes. You understand? And if I remove the potholes from this journey, you will not fully appreciate it. That is why those elements need to be there, so that those who are currently walking that journey would see that you're in the right direction, that there's light at the end of this tunnel. So it's important to capture all that.
So who are those you got to forward your book for you? Who did you get to write your forward?
Tony Khan. Tony Khan is a very prolific writer.
Yeah.
You know, he's very good like that. And it's somebody I've been fond of. Since then, the book review was done by
I enjoyed his review, trust me.
Of this day.
If you read his forward alone, you want to read your book because it was quite interesting. He told us exactly what happened in the chapters, chapter 1 to 3, then that you things got excited from chapter 4, you know. It's interesting to know that you got a 3rd class in engineering.
Yeah.
And
yes.
And even with that, you are still able to switch over to comedy. Tell us a bit about that switch.
Yeah, the thing is that first of all, my first love was medicine. I wanted to be a medical doctor.
Right.
Okay? But my brain could not make the jam score. So I settled for my second choice, which was engineering. All right. Now, I haven't graduated from engineering. In fact, in the course of doing engineering, I fell in love with the course because my training at Nigerian Motors Industries and A. Micheliti, gave me some practical background of the practice of engineering that I love, and I still love till tomorrow. But all through this, my journey of being on campus, I also fell in love with the creative arts. And I realized that the more I tried to be part of it, it made me so happy. And for me as an individual, happiness is something that I don't joke with, which is why my mantra today is the pursuit of happiness. All right, I take happiness over everything else. All right, if money, wealth cannot even bring happiness, then I don't want to go with money. Let me choose happiness instead. Right. All right, so in the course of doing all these things, I realized that I was happy doing them. And now the proposition of doing this thing and earning an income from doing it and also deriving so much happiness doing it meant that there was no other way to go but show business, which was why I stayed with entertainment. Okay.
There's a misconception about people in the show business as those that they like it. They're not very, very deep or very serious. There's a shallowness to the people in show business. But I've had conversations with enough to know that for you to succeed in any field, you need to have a bit of depth. Not even bit, a lot of it. So can you help us dispel that idea that if anybody wants to become a comedian, you don't have a job, that's why you're going to become a comedian, or you are not serious, you're looking for easy way out. So can you break down how much effort you had to put into this?
Let me put it this way. For anybody to polish their talent to the level where the luster is like that of a diamond. For you to polish any talent to the point where it begins to make money in the millions, you are a genius. Yeah. Okay? Now, it doesn't require Western education. All right? But what education does for you, what going to school does for you, is that it gives you an edge over competition. So an educated vulcanizer will be better than a vulcanizer that is not educated. An educated TV presenter will be better than one that is not educated. So education gives you an edge. So for those of us who are in the entertainment business, stand-up comedy, for example, who went to school, who actually, who are well-trained, we have an edge over our colleagues who did not go to school. There are too many comedians who did not go to school, who have talent, but didn't have the luck or the opportunity to get educated. We have an advantage, because when you give me a brief and you give them a brief, I will understand it faster and I will deliver better than them. That is the advantage that education gives you.
Let me take this call.
So it's a choice that, It's a choice that you have to make.
Right.
Whether you want to add education to your craft or you just want to, take your craft to much as much as you can take it and stand the risk of other people who are educated blowing you away in future.
All right, let me take this call very quickly. Good morning. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning, Mariah.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, my name is Douglas from Germany.
Hi, Douglas. How is Germany?
We're fine. We're pretty cool.
What's up? Go ahead.
I mean, to get to our halal, to get to the hard pass American visa. My God. I want to talk about the issue of taking help from ex.
Yes, go ahead.
So, I mean, what I see here is, the issue with the ego, trust, jealousy, and otherwise. All of them boils down to complex, inferiority complex. I mean, a man without money has no ego. It does not mean that a man without money don't have to be, should not be respected or anything, no. But I mean, you can't put your ego or your respect or whatever above your family. If you have a family that is dying, I mean, your child is out of school or in the hospital and needs help, and the only person that could help is your ex, and now you see your ego over your family. That's selfish. That's being selfish. I mean, this has nothing to do with ex-husband or ex-wife or ex-boyfriend or ex-wife. We're talking about ex.
Thank you so much, Douglas, for your views on that. Okay, where can we get your book? I mean, is it out now or you're still trying to market it? What's the plan?
It's out, and you can get it at any bookstore. We are trying to make sure that the circulation is so wide that any bookshop that you walk into, you can grab a copy.
Great.
Where it's also on Amazon.
Fantastic.
So people can order it online.
Right.
Yes.
Congratulations.
We're
okay.
doing all that.
Before I let
Thank
you
you so
go,
very much.
I have to ask you this question. There's an online poll in Lagos State asking that should the lockdown be reintroduced? What's your view on that?
Yeah, my view is if there's a good reason to re-implement the lockdown beyond just trying to slow down the virus, because other people who are implementing lockdowns are using the opportunity to put things in place so that when you open up, then you would have done X, Y, Z, you would have moved some steps beyond where you are. Mm-hmm. So if the government wants to re-implement lockdown with the view to putting things in place that will make things better when they reopen us, I'm for it. But if it's lockdown for lockdown's sake, because we don't get any other thing to do, maybe we just keep them first, make them rest more. No, that's nonsense. All right.
All right. Interesting. Thank you so much, Okey Bakassi, for joining us this morning. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
All right. So let's take a few more tweets before you run
I saw, and I can't find it, but it says that having a friendship with an ex is like holding sugar cane as a walking stick.
Yeah.
So it's just convenient. When you now feel hungry as you're walking, just grab a bite.
See, I don't know. I have an issue with that because I don't think it's right. I wouldn't want my husband to do that. Neither would I want to do that. No matter how bad things go, I don't think my ex is, no matter if it's the governor or if the Dangote, I've moved on. That's the truth. And
I pray we never have any situation that will make us consider what we don't want to do.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, many people will stand.
You see that in Yoruba is stronger.
Yes.
That English you said is not.
I can't say it in Yoruba.
There's a way I
just pray that we never find ourselves in a situation where we'll be forced to do what we don't want to do. Because many women will say, I never want to go to my ex. But when things now, like you're confronted, yes, you have a baby on dying, like on death's door. You might you will do anything to get that child alive.
So the truth is never say never.
You can never tell.
Very
and
correct.
may God give us strength to do what is right all the time.
May we never be faced with a situation that we cannot handle.
May we not be tempted more than we can handle.
Yeah. On that note, do you think they should lift the lockdown? Let me ask you that question. They should reintroduce it.
Reintroduce, just as Okey Bakassi said, it has to be for a reason. And I was talking about vaccines. We've discussed this before. Are we working on vaccines? Are we talking about isolation centers everywhere else in the north? Because for me, northern governors, it's as if you are not quite sure that we are dying from COVID. You're taking decisions that are not really helpful right now. So I'm concerned about that. If it's to lock down so that they can help the north right now, I think we can do that. Yes.
Topo, your thoughts on this?
I feel that if the lockdown can be reintroduced, if the NCDC all the state governments realizes that there's a spike in communal transmission that they want to curb urgently, they can lock down and trace, because contact tracing is difficult when people are moving around, but you might be able to limit the spread. So if there is no different spike in the moment,
there is we're seeing the number. There is a spike.
Yes,
so I think what I'm hearing the case, and I think what I'm hearing Mariam says that if there's a strategy, so I have 100,000 test kits now. I have X amount of trucks going out there, volunteers going out now. I need to lock down because I'm going to take out this community, that community. Yes. So there's a plan. So there's something that's going to be done. Don't just lock down because I just want to lock down. So I think that's what I hear you guys saying. On that note, we end the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a fabulous weekend. We'll see you Monday. Bye for now.